हे गाइस, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल सुनो कहानी। सो वी वर रीडिंग ललन स्वीट्स और मैंने चैप्टर 15 तक वीडियोस अपलोड कर दी है। सो गो एंड वॉच देम फर्स्ट एंड टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू रीड चैप्टर 16. I told you already. I repeated for about the 10th time, but I may as well have been talking to the wall. These are not my drugs. I don't know what these are. I don't even know how to use them. Smoke, swell, snort, or drink. I have no idea how this works. But you do know that these drugs are either snorted or smoked, the inspector said, banging his hand on the old wooden table and holding up his index finger at me. Yes, because I am living, breathing human being, I repeated in irritation, struggling to keep my tone respectful. The atmosphere at the police station was not helping. The policewoman standing next to the inspector and grinned maliciously at me like a nosy old aunt who had caught the kids making out the terrace. She had her arms crossed over her chest. Her expression said, "आज तो तुम्हारी खैर नहीं." I didn't know if I would be spared. The inspector, on the other hand, was hell bent on proving that these were my drugs. Admitted, "Madam, you were smuggling drugs if you're not consuming them, and that also we can find out with a medical test. Do you know what the punishment for doing drugs is?" Arey yaar, I told you these are not my drugs. That guy Aman, he said these are question papers. Where he heard the police siren, he handed me the package and threw me out of the car. You see, these scratches on my face, why and actually how would I hurt myself? He is the culprit, as are his friends Jassi, Gurpreet and Hina. You are just wasting your time interrogating me. This is what he wanted, to distract you. That's why he left me bleeding on the road. The inspector shook his head expectantly. Good story, madam. But why were you with him in the first place, huh? He kidnapped you and put the drugs in your hands. Why the hell would you allow all this if you didn't even know him properly? I had no answer to that. Why is the world was I with him in the first place? How had I been so careless that I got distracted by the sight of a good-looking guy smiling at me? I was Tara Taneja, supposed to be one of the smartest girls in Siaka. How had one dimple told this to me? I could not believe I had fallen for his act. All that I want to spend more time with you, and you Siaka people have such a cute accent. How could I have fallen for that? I had been the first one to catch the Manchandas sneaking around our shop trying to steal our recipe. I was the one to figure out that Rohit and Mohit would sneak off to play task every day instead of going to college. Bloody hell, I was the one who foiled Ayush Singh and his groups plan to prank Niku. Since when I when had I started acting like such an airhead? I let him kiss me for God's sake. I wished I could tell the inspector that. Instead, I just cried all my life. I had tried to hide my tears so that I didn't come across as weak and fragile and emotional fool who would never match up to her boy cousins. But at the point I wept in front of the police, it started with a tight sob that escaped from my chest, and then the tears flowed generously, and my eyes became like little slides, so much so that I could barely see the inspector in front of me, who suddenly looked uncomfortable. Every time I wiped the tears from my cheeks, more would make their way down my face. Finally, I put my head down on the table on my arm. I heard the policewoman walk out of the room and sense the inspector's hesitations while he tries to say something to me. The policewoman returned almost immediately with a glass of water, which she kept next to me, and handed me her handkerchief. I blew my nose loudly and took a long swig of water. What to do? I heard the inspector say in a low voice in the policeman. है तो अकेली लड़की. She is totally alone. I hung my head and proceeded to summons as much shame as I could. He promised me I began. He said he would come to Chandigarh with me. We would get married and this and that. I ran away from my home and come here. He made me meet his friends, and then I am too ashamed to go home. But I swear to God, Inspector said, I swear I had no idea these were drugs. He used me and then threw me out of the car to save himself. So your car would have to stop. You you can take my medical test. Go on, do it. I stuck my head out of the good chest measure. The inspector scratched his head. Listen, I understand your situation. These things happen, but we found the drugs on you and have to investigate. But does my word count for nothing? I teared up again, but this time the tears were not real. It does, but just some more water and relax. Write down everything you can remember about this guy and his friends. Okay, can I at least call someone? He thought about it for a while and then nodded. One call. The policewoman pointed me to the phone call as I took out a diary from my bag. But who could I call? I didn't want to call Lalaji and admit that I was a loser unworthy of being banquet bequartered Lallan Sweets. More importantly, I didn't want to tell him that Nikku and I had parted ways. There was no way I was calling Nikku. I called Sahil. But really, what would be able to do? I flipped through the diary and stopped at Ishan's number. His father was an MLA. Perhaps he could do something. I looked uncertainly at the policewoman. She raised her eyebrows. Can I take some time to think? It's just I don't know who I can call right now. She nodded sympathetically, and I went back to the wooden bench. I was sitting on it. It was quite late by then. I was tired. I had not slept for more than 3 or 4 hours on the bus to Chandigarh. It seemed like I had been here for a week, although it just had been one very long and eventful day. I checked my bag to make sure that necklace was still there. Satisfied, I placed it on edge of the bench, put my head on it, and shut my eyes. Nobody objected. I must have napped for a while because when I opened my eyes again, it was much quieter. There was nobody there. Where had the policewoman gone? And the inspector? They were nowhere to be seen. Maybe he left. It was late after all. I looked around the room and peeked outside too. But I could not see anyone. I knew it was perhaps my only chance to get out of there, making the bare minimum noise. I picked up the backpack and tiptoed outside. If anyone caught me sneaking out, they would definitely think I was guilty. Just then, I heard a door click open somewhere and assumed it to be the policewoman, probably coming back from the toilet. I hurried out of the police station, pulling my dupatta over my head and walking right past a havaldar who was peeing on one side of the road. I broke into a run, wondering how to get around at that time of the night. The city suddenly felt sinister and made me grit my teeth. I tried to stay calm, half expecting a police car to drive up from behind me and carry me away, handcuffed this time, but nobody came, and I soon found an auto rickshaw. In the sternest voice I could manage, I asked him to take me to the bus station. He spat out of the pan he was chewing on and asked me to hop in. The police in at least one state, if not two, were looking for me. My partner on the journey had abandoned me. Okay, maybe I had abandoned him after. He basically told me we had common future goals. Mohit and Rohit were much ahead in the race, at least as far as I could see. Things were in general terrible. As if this was not bad enough, my next task, Lalaji told me, was to stay with Rupi Masi in Ludhiana while Rohit Mohit would be staying at Kanu's Masi. They both lived close to each other. If Rohit and Mohit and I considered ourselves rivals, we were nothing on Rupi Masi and Kanu Masi. It had all started with a beauty pageant. They were not actually my Masis. Rupi Masi and Kanu Masis were Lalaji's neighbors before partition. When they come to India, they lived together for a couple of years in Ludhiana before being rehabilitated to Siaka. Both of them had then been married into the same family to two brothers and moved to Ludhiana. Though it should be have extended their love, the relationship had become complicated. They moved to separate homes, though still on the same street, and stopped talking to each other. The fight extended to their husbands too. It had begun with a Mrs. Ludhiana pageant. Legend has it that both Rupi Masi and Kanu Masi had reached the finals. The stakes were high, and the sister, in the heat of competition, let go all of sisterly feeling. In any case, ever since they had got married, they had been seen. They had been sisterly feeling. In any case, ever since they had got married, they had been more sister-in-law than sisters, especially after they moved into separate houses. The contest was the last nail in the coffin. Rupi Masi instituted that at the most crucial moment when it was time to walk down the ramp. Kanu Masi had come to her and, in the guise of trying to help her adjust her sari, had managed to crumple it and even take the safety pins off her back. Nobody seemed to have noticed it. Rupi Masi had tried spectacularly on the stage. Her sari became loose, much to the embarrassment of the judges, the audience, and of course herself. Kanu Masi had gone on to win Mrs. Ludhiana. When Rupi Masi accused her, she claimed that her sister had no proof. They had been the end of their cordial relationship. Rupi Masi cut off all the contact with her sister and immersed herself in the leaning learning and teaching of Kathak, becoming the most formidable Kathak teacher in the city. Hailing from the Lucknow Gharana, when little girls were sent to Rupi Masi to learn Kathak, it was believed that they often peed in their clothes. There is no Kathak without discipline. She also said, and if you are here to giggle and pass your evenings, I will ensure that I make a proper, well behaved woman out of you. But why was I being sent there? Of course, Lalaji had to have it all planned out. Rohit and Mohit would stay with Kanu Masi and I would be with Rupi Masi. Both of Masi had always bragged about knowing the magic ingredient. I want you to check if they truly know the magic ingredient or not, Lalaji had said. I want you to see what they use in their cooking, in their water, in their tea, anything they do in the kitchen. He had added and insisted that we would know the magic ingredient if it was in the house. In the meantime, he told me, you will help Rupi and Rohit Mohit will help Kanu. Help with what? I asked blankly. I didn't know. The K of Kathak, I felt as if I could see Lalaji smiling over the phone. To win senior Mrs. Ludhiana, of course. Don't you know they were participating each other again? Senior Mrs. Ludhiana, honestly, I was tired of it all but didn't dare to complain to Lalaji. I told him nothing about the Chandigarh incident and was extremely grateful to be on a bus to Ludhiana without the police chasing me. I shuddered to think of what would happen had they caught me. I shut my eyes and my thoughts kept going back to Nikku and the evening at Ghungru. Is Appu coming? I asked Nikku, then brushing my hair. Yes, he is. Alright, we will have fun. Ouch. What? Sounds like he is the reason you want to go. I had laughed at that. Why? You won't be the reason? Don't pretend as if I am not. Don't pretend as if you don't want to be, saying which I had giggled and kissed him. Little did I know that it would not be enough for him. I had loved him truly as long as I could remember. If that didn't inspire him to think of us together, what was their point? I groaned and forced myself to not think of him. There were other problems at hand. Rupi Masi was delighted to see me. She was expecting me, of course, but just just was not sure about when I would arrive. Rohit and Mohit too. She told me had come to meet her the day before, but we were staying with Kanu Masi. Her lips twisted into a ugly grimace when she took Kanu Masi's name, though she did try to conceal it. What will you eat, little Tara? You know, when you were little, you always tried to pull my earrings out. You were such a fat, naughty child, always running after your papa. How is your mummy these days? We chit-chatted for a while as I surveyed the house. There were light curtains over the grilled windows. When she went to the kitchen and I stood with her, she tried to shoo me away. You go and rest in the drawing room. Nah, but I refused to budge. This much was certain. I would be in the kitchen for as long as I could find the damn ingredient. Where is uncle? I asked her, popping a rasgulla into my mouth. He will be see you in the morning. He is at work now. Finally seated on the sofa next to her and allowed to relax, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. After the last couple of days, I was glad to be with a familiar face. Rupi Masi and Kama Masi used to come to Siaka often when we were kids, bringing clothes for us. Rupi Masi always gifted me a night suit each time the two Masis stayed with their chachis in Siaka. The two of them and Lalaji had adopted each other as brother and sister after living together for so long. First in Pakistan and then in Siaka. So Lallan Bhai Sahib actually sent you on this hunt for the magic ingredient? She asked me, her face piqued with interest. Yes, Rupimasi, I said, trying not to sound too excited. What can I say? I am really tired of all. I have been traveling so many days. I have seen so much. The stories I can tell you. So tell me now, what are you waiting for? But wait, were you not going to come with someone? Yes, he had to leave. He? Oh, Tara, what is this he? With a boy from Siaka. Masi, tell me about the competition. I am here to help you. This is not right. Lallan should not have involved the kids in this. Still a fight, is it? Rupi Masi turned her face upwards, refusing to answer at first, and then, looking at me, her eyes were full of hurt. You know how many Kathak batches I run now? Tara. I shook my head meekly. Five batches of Kathak in Ludhiana. Every little girl wants to learn Kathak from me, although I am past the age when I can dance, but just one look is enough to teach them. But that and my older girls and my stick boys. This has been the most successful Kathak classes Ludhiana has ever known yet. I never got credit. All people remember is that Rupi fell face first in Mrs. Ludhiana and Kanu won the contest. So angry with the outcome was I. People say that I broke all the relations with Kanu, with my own sister, despite the fact that we live on the same street. Do I want to die like this? With this black dhabba, taking the blame for killing our relationship? No, Tara, no. I will participate in senior Mrs. Ludhiana and trust me when I say this time I will beat Kanu. I was fascinated. Rupi Masi was impassively dressed with kajal lining her eyes, her sharp silver nose ring, her tightly plaited hand, and her dupatta always tied on one side. Ready to dance, Rupi Masi? Is that what I am here for? Yes, beta, but I just don't want to involve you. Anyway, my husband says that I am being a fool, that I should let go of these old rivalries, that jealousy does not suit an old woman, that all this Mrs. Ludhiana is nonsense, but he does not know. I got up and put a hand on her shoulder. I know what it's like, Rupi Masi. I know what it's like to constantly be in a competition, to feel like someone is trying to one up you all the time, to be bested even though you know you are capable of all that they did and more. I completely understand and I want you to help you. Her eyes might have teared up as she hugged me. This time we will win for sure, she said to me in a tone so matter of fact that I had to ask her why. Because I have a fundamental advantages this time, she said with a smirk. The first round is a dance competition. Over the next few days, I am only polished my dancing skills, but I was so occupied between following Rupi Masi around all day and helping her prepare for senior Mrs. Ludhiana that I didn't much time to think about Niku. Of course, when I lay down to sleep at night, thoughts of him would be the first thing to creep into my mind. I felt hurt and betrayed that he had not even called me. I could not help but think that if he called my home, they would obviously have told him that I was at Rupi Masi's. He could have called me here. But nothing of sort happened, and I constantly forced myself to not think about him, keeping my eye on the goal. To begin with, Rupi Masi showed me her best Kathak moves, and I advised her which ones we could take up. We finally shortlisted a Thumri, but I was not satisfied. People know you from your Kathak, your Thumris. You organize the annual program for the girls every year. If you perform a spectacular Thumri, it won't surprise them, will it? You will be fabulous, but I feel you will win more points if you do something you are not already an expert at, something that shows your vulnerability, vulnerability which shows that you had to work hard at it. Everybody loves at underdog. They want to feel your pain. See you climb on a mountain you can't already be at the top. Rupi Masi nodded dil- diligently, holding my hand. What must we do then? Let's bring the house down, I said, gritting my teeth in the determination. We choreographed a dance on Gurnal Ishq Mitha, and although uncomfortable, Rusimasi pulled it off with the utmost determination and perfection. Uncle shook his head and laughed at us. This is going to be the hilarious. How many times do you see a buddhi dancing like this? Mister, I am not buddhi, I am a senior citizen. In the mornings, we had a detoxification and beauty routine planned. Lots of water, followed by haldi chandan paste on the face and neck, followed by oiling of hair with jasmine oil. After this, we would practice our dance steps, post which it would be the would be time for Rupi Masi's Kathak classes. Although the day I would follow her like a puppy, staring at what she puts in the food. Even when she made her uncle's chai, was it possible that she was hiding it from me? I wondered if I should ask her directly, but then decided that I would need her on my side. If she was actually going to tell me the magic ingredient, that moment would come once she was senior Mrs. Ludhiana. I even paid a visit to Kanu Masi, though we were competitors. She greeted me warmly along with Rohit and Mohit. We actually had a fun time reminiscing about the past. When it was time for me to leave, Rohit and Mohit joined me and we had a rare moment of peace and friendship. Where is Nikku then? They asked. When I didn't reply, they nudged me. I replied tersely, Agra's Pagal Khana. That's where he is gone. Come on, Taru, tell us, Rohit said. Is he following another lead? I ignored the question. Anyway, Taru, Moy said. We were talking about it and we think that we when we win, because we will win for sure, Lallan sweets will be yours too. I mean, don't think that you will forsake all claim to it just because you lost this competition. We will talk more about this when we win. But just to let you know, you will still be our sister. Despite the cocky tone, I was touched. Perhaps it was the Rupi Kanu massive effect. Our families might have set us up to spar, but we were probably beyond them, beyond their stupid fights. I smiled and extended my hand, trying to quest, and thought that this might be trick to catch me off guard. They took it one by one. सो गाइस यहाँ पे हमारा चैप्टर 16 खत्म होता है. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू लाइक शेयर एंड कमेंट योर फेवरेट. बाय बाय.